that. Do I have another clip on that?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? KCE, King Chaka.
Is 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago. I want to say it was a New York Times article. Was it Seymour Hersh? I think it was Seymour Hersh who wrote the article. Was it for New York Times? Because I think that's important, if they freaking did it.
Yes, it's Seymour Hersh.
Okay. Was it New York Times that he wrote it in? Because he's an award-winning journalist, but this article they're saying they're calling it bullshit. They're saying he don't have any evidence really. I'm looking for something that's worth the crap.
This guy is a legendary badass.
Yeah. So
this guy was the one that busted the U.S. killing the Vietnamese at My Lai. He exposed the torture of Iraqis at Abu Ghraib, and he also did something about he did a lot of stuff on Watergate. And I believe he was the one that exposed the CIA coup against Chile.
Yeah, but this particular article, they're calling it bullshit. They're saying that, yeah, he's an award-winning journalist, but he's off on this one. I find that really interesting.
Well, you remember I said that was going to happen at that first day they rolled in. I gave a prediction of what was going to happen, and almost everything I said has happened so far. Actually, everything I have said has happened so far.
I don't see what I'm looking for. I got a 6-minute video from Gravitas. It's probably decent. Let's see.
Our next story is about Nord Stream gas pipelines. Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2. The undersea pipelines run side by side for 750 miles to Germany. Both of them run through the Baltic Sea. Let me explain now why this is important and why we're talking about it tonight. Before Russia invaded Ukraine, Nord Stream 1 transported cheap Russian gas to Germany. Cheap Russian gas was a big boon for the German economy. Germany also retransported this gas to Western Europe. The Nord Stream essentially was a symbol of heavy European reliance on Russian energy. Nord Stream 2, which was completed in 2021, would double that quantity. But last time, an undersea explosion blew up the pipelines. Take a look.
Damn, music.
But nobody claimed it. The US blames Russia for the undersea sabotage, and Russia blamed the United States. But these were all wild allegations. Nobody offered any proof. But the United States was never happy. It had always detested the idea of Europe becoming hostage to Russian energy. But blowing up the Nord Stream was out of question, at least publicly. It would be an act of war against Russia. But now, almost 6 months down the line, we may have an answer as to what happened. All this courtesy Pulitzer Prize-winning American journalist Seymour Hersh. The report has now been picked by prominent publications, including The Times. And what does Hersh claim? Let me list it out. He says that the US hatched the plot to bomb the energy pipelines. He cites an anonymous source. And as expected, the White House has rejected the report, but several media outlets have picked up Hersh's claims. Let's look at some facts now. Let's revisit the path of the Nord Stream pipelines. The Nord Stream begins in Vyborg. This is a Russian port at the Baltic Sea. The Nord Stream passes through the exclusive economic zones of 5 nations. Russia, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Germany. The Nord Stream ends at the German port of Greifswald. And as for the Nord Stream 2, it starts at the Russian port of Ust-Luga. It traces an almost similar route and it runs till Greifswald. So the subsea bombing of the Nord Stream happened near the Danish island of Bornholm. Coming back to the claims. According to Hersh, the entire operation was led by Jake Sullivan. He happens to be Biden's national security advisor. Look at the timeline on your screens. The planning allegedly began in December 2021. That's when the first meeting was convened in Washington, D.C. So who all were involved? Hersh claims officials from the CIA, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, State Department officials. After weeks of brainstorming, divers trained at the U.S. Navy's Savage Center in Panama City picked to execute the job. Why them? To avoid scrutiny from the US Congress and prevent any kind of leaks of the operation. It was a highly secretive mission. Once again, these are all Hersh's claims. Further, Hersh says that the entire operation was a multi-nation effort. The US enlisted Norway's help to fulfill the plan. But why Norway? Remember, it is a founding member of NATO. Its navy has excellent sailors. Norway supposedly took Sweden and Denmark in the loop. In fact, Hersh claims it was Norway which picked the bombing spot to provide cover from Russian surveillance in the Baltic. Hersh claims that the US divers planted the explosives during the Baltops 22 drills. Remember, these are annual naval drills in the Baltic Sea, and the multinational drills are led by the US Navy. The drills also take countries. But the decision to detonate the bomb was good. That's what Hersh's report says. Yes, the explosives were sitting with Nord Stream for almost 4 months, from June till September. And then on 26th of September, the kaboom happened, so to speak. A Norwegian Navy's P-8 spy plane flew a routine mission over the Baltic Sea. It secretly dropped a sonar buoy near where the explosives were. Sweden and Denmark confirmed the undersea explosion. Meanwhile, the US reaction was sort of celebratory. Here's what the State Secretary Blinken said back then. It's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the reliance on Russian energy and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. That's what Blinken said. Now, with these new revelations indicating a US hand in the bombing, Moscow has renewed its demand for an investigation. Listen in.
Of course, we have thoroughly studied Seymour Hersh's publication. There is nothing sensational and surprising in it for us. We proceeded on the basis that the United States and at least some of Washington's NATO allies were involved in this criminal act, which was an armed attack on one of the elements of peace of critical infrastructure.
But a bigger question right now is, will Germany and EU allies take Hersh's claims seriously? Moreover, will the revelations impact transatlantic ties? Whatever the scenario may be, we'll get you the story as it unfolds. WION World is...
So what do y'all think? Did the U.S. have anything to do with the bombing of the Nord Stream pipeline? It's like, it's kind of like when they're saying that Russia did it, that part really doesn't make sense, because what benefit would Russia have for blowing up their own pipeline? And it just shows how much BS they can pour into the American public through the media, and we just eat it up. You know, the Kremlin blew up his own pipeline. Like, okay, we don't know what really happened, right? But this guy, Seymour Hersh, he's a pretty damn prominent journalist, and he wrote an article saying that he thinks that's what happened. So, what do y'all think?
Sure, I believe from the evidence and what they were saying when when it first happened would lead me to be skeptical and believe that the U.S. had a hand in it. And if it wasn't them, I believe it could have been one of our NATO partners that actually pulled off the attack. But I believe that we had our hand in it somewhere.